This interview is brought to you by the Pro Fight Shop in Hollywood. Radio Rahim with chairman of Top Rank, Bob Arum. Bob, first let me congratulate you on a phenomenal fight last Saturday at the Home Depot Center. Timothy Bradley, Ruslan Provodnikov. I, for one, did not think it was going to be as exciting as it was or competitive. It was a war. What are your thoughts on that event and how it turned out?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that it was such a good fight because I've watched Ruslan in the gym with Manny Pacquiao. Our matchmakers thought it would be a hell of a matchup, which it was. It's a win-win for both guys. They both showed a lot of heart, very exciting. So I think Bradley comes out with a lot more pluses than when he went in. And certainly Ruslan Provodnikov is now known to everybody in America, every fight fan.
Well, a fight like that causes a little bit of a pickle, maybe not a bad problem to have, but I'm sure Ruslan wants a rematch, and I'm sure Bradley would want to move on to bigger and more lucrative fights. How do you see that coming out? What do you think is best for these two fighters?
Well, there are plenty of fights that they can have. Ruslan has, we have a lot of opponents lined up for Ruslan. We have a lot of opponents lined up for Bradley, and eventually they can fight again. I am not one that really advocates immediate rematches.
Now, interestingly, you say that because on the night I talked to Freddie Roach, and we got into, obviously, the Pacquiao and Marquez 5 possibilities. Freddie says he doesn't want a tune-up fight. What do you say? And if you don't believe in immediate rematches, even though that's not, you know, immediate on the calendar, it would be his next fight. Do you think that Pacquiao should take a tune-up, or is the Marquez fight a possibility?
I don't think Manny should take any tune-ups. He can fight 1 to 3 guys. Timothy Bradley, Juan Manuel Marquez, and the winner of Rios Alvarado. Those aren't tune-up fights, any of them.
So who would make that decision? Or is it, I mean, has Pacquiao given you the preference?
No, not yet. We haven't seen Rios Alvarado. Let's watch that next Saturday.
Well, speaking about Rios Alvarado, I mean, obviously that is one explosive matchup. If that match were to go the other way this time, with Alvarado winning, would a rubber match be in the cards?
I don't know. Let's see the fight first. Let's one fight at a time. I mean, these guys have a lot of possibilities, a lot of opponents, a lot of options. So we're going to see. I mean, who knows if Rios fights Manny or if Rios fights Bradley. If he wins the fight, Alvarado can fight Provodnikov. I mean, there are a lot of mixes and matches.
There are so many matchups, and there are also a lot of matchups out there that the boxing fans never get tired of wishing they could see. Now, your Cold War, if you want to call it that, with Golden Boy has prevented some fights that the fans are definitely calling for. And now in this recent week, we've seen HBO decide that they won't be doing business with Golden Boy. What are your thoughts on that development and how that affects the fight game?
Well, Showtime won't do business with any other promoter other than Golden Boy. So Golden Boy is only excluded from HBO. No other promoter is excluded from HBO. And besides, I don't see the fans demanding any particular fight that isn't happening. That's just not true. You know, the fighters that they have, by and large, are fighters that we don't find very interesting. And if they find some of our fighters interesting, well, that's just too bad. I mean, if they want to release a fighter or give fighter permission to fight on HBO, we're very happy to do it. But make no mistake about it, we're a company that's affiliated with HBO, period. Just the way every other promoter in boxing is affiliated with HBO.
Now, what we've seen last year, especially on September 15th, with Martinez, you know, basically counter-programmed against Canelo Alvarez. Now that this split has happened officially, if you will, are we going to see more programming like that, where you guys, you know, you look on the same date to split the fans, split the baby, if you will?
Well, that's sort of ridiculous. That's old school. I mean, everybody has a DVR. Everybody can tape one fight and watch the other. There's no conflict if both networks go on the same date. Fans will watch both fights, as was demonstrated on September 15th. The Martinez-Chavez pay-per-view was off the chart, and Canelo in his fight, they did a very good rating for Showtime. People are very sophisticated now. They don't have to watch both fights live.
Well, but networks live for ratings, so we know that ratings matter, and if you have two things on the same time, on the same night, you can't watch them at the same time. Someone's going to have to choose. What I'm saying is that a strategy or an angle that you're going to persist with?
It just shows that you're not up and don't understand the ratings, because if you DVR a fight, that counts as a viewer, right? So your idea of what the ratings are or aren't is totally preposterous.
You can't be in two places at one time physically. You can. Most people won't buy two pay-per-views on the same night and DVR one. I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds, but that's what networks do. Everybody's got a DVR, but networks still fight over ratings. What I'm saying is, if you're going to put them on the same night or not, you're saying that has no bearing whatsoever. These things are coincidences.
No, I think it enhances the ratings and the pay-per-view for both. That's what happened on September 15th. The fact that they were both going the same night. Showtime got a very good rating. A lot of people DVR'd it and watched our fight on pay-per-view live. And as far as two pay-per-view fights the same night, well, in-demand DirecTV and Dish will not approve that. So that's not a factor. I mean, be real. Don't drink the crap that you're being fed by people who can't compete.
Who are the people who can't compete?
Well, who is? Like the people who cry all the time, like Little Oscar and the Golden Boy Company. I mean, we're not crying. They can do whatever they want. We don't care if they put a fight against us. Doesn't mean anything.